Okay, hello everyone. This is a session to help you out with Subtitle workshop. So I'm going to quickly show you how to use the software, combining all the instructions that you have been given so far about the software and using the hotel video. So first of all, you open the software and this is what you see. You see a screen cut in two basically. So the upper part is where the video is going to show, while the lower part is where the subtitles are going to show. If you want to start subtitling a video, you have to open the movie first, that is the video file. So you go to Movie, Open, and select the video that you want to use. You will notice that at the bottom in the scroll down menu, you can see all the supported formats. If the format of your video is not supported, you will have to convert it to a format that is supported, and you can see all these formats here. So I pick the video, I click on Open, and I get it here at the upper part of my subtitle editor. Now, the next thing that I would like to do is create a file here where I will be adding subtitles. In order to do that, I go to File, New Subtitle, and I have the first empty subtitle with a minimum duration. Another thing that you have to check before you start subtitling is under Edit and Timings. You have to specify the temporal parameters. In other words, the duration limits, which should be a maximum of 6,000 milliseconds and a minimum of 1,000 milliseconds. You just click on Apply here, and then you go to Settings to specify the maximum number of characters per line. So you go to Settings, Advanced, and you specify that to 39. You click OK, and you're ready to start. What is also important to remember is that at the bottom you are able to see the timing, the timeout, and the duration of the currently selected subtitle. Before I move on with timing and subtitles and all that, I would like to show you some very interesting buttons that you have right under the video player. So first you have the play and pause, stop. You also have jump to the previous subtitle, jump to the next subtitle. So if I add another subtitle here and I time it to start here and end here, by using this button I move to the previous or the next point where the previous and the next subtitle actually started. This is very useful. You will understand it in the future when you start creating many subtitles. You also have the rewind and the forward buttons. You will notice that when I use them, you go forward by 5 seconds and backwards by another 5 seconds, which is very useful for accurate timing. You also have the set start time and the set final time buttons that are very useful, and they are actually the time in and the time out buttons. Always remember that when you put your cursor here, you can see the shortcut that you can use from your keyboard in order to perform these actions, because after some time you will find that using the keyboard to perform these actions is actually much more handy than having to click on these buttons, especially for timing and timeout, Alt-C and Alt-V. So, as a subtitler, what you need to know is that the software is there to help you. It is not there to do the job for you, and you are the ones who control it. So it is very important to take some time and look at the menu of your software. For example, you see that you have search options. You can look for text inside your file. You can do a spell check. You can also see errors. You can see settings that are related to the positioning of the subtitles, the video preview settings. You can see that the forward and the rewind time can be set to less than 5 seconds. It is up to you. I will set it to 1 because I'm used to that. And more settings about the subtitles, what type of font you want them to have, how you want them to appear, and so on. So these are important settings that, in my opinion, you should be checking at all times before you start subtitling. I'm going to start with the subtitling process, the actual subtitling process now. So the first thing you need to do is watch the whole video to be aware of the content of the video. Second, you start transcribing. In this case, we have the transcription ready. I've already provided to you, so we're going to use the ready-made subscription. The third phase is to use the subscription and create subtitles inside the software. And the fourth phase is to time in and time out your subtitles. If you want to translate the subtitles, you can also use the translation mode. The translation mode will give you a second box and a second column right next to the original. So if this is my first language, this is English. Now hold it. Okay? Right next to that, I can add the translation in the second language. Okay? And then check both of them at the same time. At the moment, we're going to work with English only, because this is just for preview purposes, demonstration purposes. So I'm going to start from the beginning. I don't need to watch the whole thing. I've watched it a million times. I don't need to prepare a transcription because I have it here already. What I'm going to do is use this subscription to create intralingual subtitles for this demonstration.
Now hold it. I waited long enough. What happened back there?
Okay, so my first subtitle is now hold it. I press insert to create a second one and take the rest of the content. I waited long enough. In my opinion, there should be a full stop here and capital W here. What happened back there? And I would like this to be a two-liner because this is actually 47 characters long and I want the maximum length to be 39. So I delete the space, press enter, and I create a two-liner that is made of 21 and 25 character sets. I click insert, I add a new subtitle, and then I click on play to continue.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you or not. This is the next one. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you or not. Now, where would we cut this sentence? I would cut it here so that the whole verb is kept together. Okay, and I have 28 characters in the first line and 19 in the second. I press insert and I create another subtitle.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? That is my next subtitle.
He said if I told anybody, it could prove fatal for them as well as for me.
Okay, now this seems quite a long sentence. He said if I told anybody, it could prove fatal for them as well as for me. So we're going to see if this can fit in one subtitle only. I will decide to cut it after the comma. And I see here that the second line is 48 characters long. That means I have to cut it. So in my opinion, since the two utterances are very close, I could put the first part of this sentence in the previous subtitle and use the dash to indicate that somebody else is speaking here. Okay, what does that mean? He said if I told anybody, it could be fatal for them as well as for me. So this is how I would quickly separate these sentences. So I will stop here. You understand, I believe, how you should be going on with this process. You take the text, you put it inside, you segment your text, and then the last phase would be, after translating or not, you go back to time your subtitles. Now, what I find very useful when timing my subtitles is start and end, as well as rewind and forward. This is why I switched it from 5 seconds to 1 second, because it allows me to specify the exact point where I want my subtitle to start. So I press play.
No.
I move a little bit back. And this is where I want to specify the start time.
Now hold it.
And this is my end time. I check the duration of my subtitle. It is more than 1 second, so I'm good to go. Now I'm here. I set the start time for the next subtitle.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
And now I want this subtitle to stop appearing right before I have the shot change. So this is my timeout. And the next second is going to be the time in of the next subtitle. This is not started yet, so I change the time in a little bit later on.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you.
And now before we switch again, the time shot, I will end the subtitle and then move to the next second and time in.
What does that mean?
He said if I told anybody,
I stop it here and then 1 second, time in,
could prove fatal for them as well as for me.
and time out.
Who
I will give it some time.
said it?
Okay, then he starts speaking again.
Who said it?
Before he starts talking, I have to time out this subtitle. Now I've finished and I want to double check that everything is correct. Before I move on, remember that with a right click you can change the formatting and add italics, bold or underline, as well as set the colors, so you can switch to magenta like this. Let's see what it looks like.
Now hold it.
Okay, you see what the color looks like. So now I've taken it back to normal because obviously you only need that for subtitling for the deaf. And this is the basic process that you need to follow. Now, for some languages, like Greek in my case, you would need to change the encoding, and you can do it very, very easily here from the left. Okay? It is also under settings, so you can do that. As soon as you finish with the subtitling process, you should definitely use spell check, and you should definitely use the information and errors window, where you can actually see the problems that are related with the timing. So, for example, here, the first error is on subtitle 2. On subtitle 2, I see that this subtitle is overlapping with the previous subtitle. And if I look at it, so if I look at this, I see that actually the previous one stops at 11.100 and the next one starts at 11.35 now that I have fixed it. So if I run another check now, where is it? I see that everything has been corrected because I clicked on fix errors and it did it automatically. But even if I do it automatically and not by hand, I have to check it again to make sure that the subtitles show as they should.
Now hold it. I waited long enough. What happened back there?
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you.
What does that mean?
He said if I told anybody, it could prove fatal for them as well as for me.
Who's?
Okay, so this is now fixed. And if I want to send it to my client, I will go to File, Save As, and Produce. I would like to produce an SRT, so I scroll down a little bit to find my SRT. So we're looking for subrep, and it is here. This is the SRT format that you need. You double click on it and you save it in the relevant folder. You see that it is going to be an SRT file and save. Now, if your client has requested a different format, You look for the format here, the same way that I just did, and you create the right format. In my folder now, I should have the SRT file that I want to use, and if I double click to open it, I can see the subtitle file that I created. Okay, so this is all for Subtitle Workshop, and you will be given some more details later on during the course. Thank you very much for watching.